What's going on, everyone? Austin here, and today we're going to talk about a video that, there's a lot of nuance, it's a little difficult, and it's about a new rule that the FIA came out with for the 2023 Formula One season. And basically, the premise of it is that it prohibits drivers from, quote, the general making and display of political, religious, or personal statements unless there's permission that's granted beforehand. Now, before I hop into this, just really quick, did you know that 95.4% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed? If you aren't, please consider doing so. It's free to do, easy to do, it would mean the world. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So when you think about who this new rule for 2023 will affect, really two of the drivers come to mind, and only one of them will still be driving in 2023. You think about Sebastian Vettel, where are my words, who was a major activist, especially when it came to environmentalism and climate change, as well as LGBTQ plus rights. You'll see him over and over again showing up to race weekends and conducting interviews with people, really standing up for what he believes in these communities, and he was not ashamed with his words, actions, and clothes to make his positions known to the world. The other person who you think of when you think of activism within F1 is Lewis Hamilton. He was really on the forefront of the Black Lives Matter movement, showing up to countless races in the past wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, as well as more specific shirts such as Arrest the Cops Who Killed Breonna Taylor, and really not afraid in interviews with his clothes, with his words, to make those actions and his beliefs known to the world. Now, this, of course, would not be permitted within the new 2023 rules without specific permission granted by the FIA beforehand. However, this doesn't just affect the individual drivers. I mean, in the past, the F1 as a whole, all the drivers have gotten together in the initiative of the End Racism campaign, which you can see the drivers here posing on a track with the End Racism logo. You can even see Lewis Hamilton still has that Black Lives Matter t-shirt on, as well as you can go to formula1.com/WeRaces1, where they talk about sustainability in the sport, diversity and inclusion, as well as the Formula One community. So Formula One as a whole is invested in this as well. And who would know with these 2023 rule regulations that the FIA has proposed if Formula One would be able to continue to do that when these, events occur, such as the Black Lives Matter /End Racism campaigns became a big thing after George Floyd. Now, once the FIA came out with this, of course, you could go on Twitter and see the outrage that people, obviously care about these causes and want drivers to be able to express themselves without any repercussions or without feeling like drivers are limited by their governing organization that's, in control of whether they race or not. So this article was written at ESPN talking about McLaren CEO Zak Brown, who came out on a very sort of unexpected and nuanced side of the whole thing. Zak Brown, I'll read some excerpts from this, where Zak Brown saying that the FIA is trying to find the right balance around drivers making political gestures at races, as he feels protests and statements got, quote, out of control, end quote, on several occasions in the recent years. So when Zak Brown was asked about the FIA's kind of, clamp down or cracking down on the activism that goes on, Zak Brown told us ESPN, it's tricky, right? Because some of the topics are really good, some are controversial, some are polarizing. I think in general we want to be a sport that is doing good. We just need to find the right balance there and not have every start of a race being a new political agenda for someone. I don't think that's healthy, as it can detract from what everyone has turned it to, which is they want to watch Grand Prix. And to Zak Brown's credit on the other side, he says that he is happy for drivers and teams to still have an avenue to explore if they want to make a gesture or statement, depending on what they're passionate about. He says, I'm glad the door is open for drivers and teams to talk to the FIA if there's an issue they want to discuss. It wasn't a you can't do it. it was you can't do it without our permission. So at least the door is open. So, from both sides, you're talking about kind of the rights and freedoms of the driver on one end to be able to use their massive platform, as each Formula One driver has, to kind of promote what they care about and what's going on in the world. And then on the other hand, you have the FIA and Formula One who's saying, look, if we keep bringing all these political statements that not every person can agree upon, that's just not going to happen, then that can affect revenue, sponsors, viewership, all which help the FIA kind of create and run this Formula One machine. It's interesting to see if in this 2023 season, if any drivers will come off hot, out of the gates, making a statement, whether it be clothing or in an interview or anything along those lines, having some political undertones to it, and whether or not they'll have asked for permission beforehand. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the penalty will be, but I'm assuming some sort of fine. I really want to hear what you all think in the comments about this rule. Do you understand where the FIA is coming from of saying, look, we just want it to be a race, just because you care about an issue doesn't mean that you have to broadcast it to the world via our, racing league? Or do you more side with the drivers and see their side of, look, I've built up this following and I care about these issues and I really want to express that. So I'd love to hear in the comments what you all are thinking. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching the video. Catch you next time.